All right, hello everybody. Long time no, whatever. Today we got something special, something out of this world, one could say. Reading Posadism, flying saucers, the process of matter and energy, science, the revolutionary and working class struggle, and the socialist future of mankind, from the 26th of June, 1968. If you don't know who Posadism is, Google Posadism. Don't Google Bookchin. Google Posadism. It's a lot more enlightening. Here's with me.
Google Dolan too.
Yeah. Yeah, Dolan is like a modern Posadist, but he's not aware of it.
Dolan and Kubi.
No, Richard Dolan. His name is Richard, right? We know so many, like we read and watch so many people named Richard. I don't know who's who.
Yeah. There must be something in that name that is enlightening, I guess.
Otherworldly.
Yeah.
Is Hyperion Joshua here with us today.
Joshua the Skeptic.
But alright, let's get to this. I'll link this on the descriptions. Life can exist on other planets, in other solar systems, in other galaxies and universes. Already the man is just metaphysically more radical than many of us. I mean, sure, other planets, solar systems, galaxies, alright. Universes? Now you're getting crazy. The passage of matter from the inorganic to the organic state could take place in a different manner to how it does on Earth, such that energy could be used in a more effective manner. Here we barely know how to make best use of the oil and in a very limited fashion, nuclear energy that we have at hand. They, meaning the aliens, on the contrary, may be on the way to exploiting all the energy existing in matter. They can use all the energy that we still do not know how to employ on Earth and transform it into light. It could be that matter is organized differently in other planetary systems or galaxies, in infinite combinations and in totally different forms to those that we know on Earth. We cannot imagine what it is like, but we can imagine very well that there may be an organization of energy infinitely superior to what we have here. In the Soviet Union, they have discovered a ray infinitely faster than light, which is something totally new. I will have to look that up because I don't know what he's talking about. Although I will say, for all of you, who are physically, by that I mean like pop physics inclined, if you believe that light is the speed limit of the universe, get woke. Because you are just wrong. Like it doesn't even take. Dead wrong. If Hyperion says it's wrong, it's dead wrong. It's like double wrong. It's like negation of negation. That's how you beat the speed of light. C squared. It's right there, yeah. People. Hegelianism, right there.
As we know, once you get close to the speed of light, time slows down. So.
Yeah, that's full of shit. No, I'm serious. That's full of shit. I mean, like.
I know. I'm just kidding, man.
For those of you who want to fight me on this, you go ahead and fight me. I guarantee you I will win. Because I am a priori correct on this. Yeah. You can go, it's like, but the clock's experiment, you don't know shit. Indeed, because I've actually read about that, and the actual data doesn't fucking show that. And clock slowing down is nothing amazing.
No.
We're getting off tangent. Anyways, though, yeah, aliens, if aliens exist, they know how to use energy the likes of which we don't know. 19.5 people. 19.5. For those of you who know, you'll get it. And if you don't, well, get woke.
Try to get it.
Like Chaya here, I'm sure Chaya knows, even though she's not like consciously aware, but subconsciously in the Jewish collective unconscious, because she knows of the Structure the Merkaba.
Electron.
She's in on it.
Uh-huh.
She knows deep in her bones what 19.5 means.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, they're in on all the conspiracies, so.
It's Metatron, man. Metatron. But anyways, I have to look that up about the Soviet Union. I mean, I have no doubts whatsoever that there are superliminal waves and things. Anybody who doesn't think there is, like, you just don't know. This same ray may have been discovered on other planets millions of years ago and already being used. While we take X amount of time to get from one continent to another, they perhaps do it in half a second. The conception of life and the organization of matter are determined by all such things. This energy must contain a property and force infinitely superior to anything we know. We can conceive of a being which, just by raising its hand, can produce light, draw energy to it, push it away, and organize it. It is possible. Hell yeah, it's possible. We are habituated to seeing and conceiving of life on Earth in the commercial sense of private property, the feeling of possession, which is the basis of social development before the coming of the worker state. It is this that determines the purpose of life and its relations with other planets. When they plan a journey to another planet, they do so in order to see how to exploit and dominate it, because science is subjected to those who pay for it. Science is not independent. So just FYI, by the way, like 90% of the aliens are communists. It's not like maybe, it's like the people who have met the aliens, the contactees, all of them say and swear they are all communists.
They describe communism. They don't say they're communists. What the way they describe it is communism.
But get this, most of them, actually, I don't know a single one that are like there are democrats. Most of them are monarchists. Yeah. Hello to Hegel's philosophy of right. I suppose he got something there. Who knows? And like the other ones are like they're hive minds. But
yeah, collective conscious.
The grays.
Yeah.
And then the other ones, they're just biological robots or something.
Yeah. Bioandroids.
Programmed life forms.
Workers.
But yeah, about like, doing anything they want with matter and light, sure, yeah. They got magic and shit. At least compared to us. I'm surprised Josh hasn't responded with, you know what, but we'll see.
He's just silently hating us.
Yeah.
Go on.
This same ray, it is not the same thing as when you plant a plant to reap what you want from this. In this case, even if we are subject to nature, we determine what happens. Science, on the contrary, is subject to those who finance it. Astronomers, physicists, where should they go to find the equipment for their research? They cannot do so without money. They are not as individuals rich enough to pay for these things and also get by. It is the capitalist state, or indeed the Soviet state, that has the means to pay. They can thus install their equipment, but they limit their capacities to capitalist interest or the bureaucratic limitations imposed by the leadership of the worker state. That is why our knowledge of physics, of matter, or of astronomy is still at only an embryonic stage. Yeah, seriously, I mean, like, compared to what the Egyptians used, like, shit, the Egyptians knew a lot. Also, like, the American Indians, Mayans and stuff.
Well, they got contacted.
Yeah.
Probably.
Like, just
most probably.
Yeah. And then, according to some American Indian tribes, they were transported here from other stars.
Mm-hmm. The star people came down, they showed them corn.
And then we took that corn and then we put it in everything, and it makes us sick.
Oh yeah.
It's like Montezuma's revenge, but for the general Anglo.
It's true that they're subject to those who finance it. I mean, why would we not know about this stuff in mainstream science? Because, well, it's not in the interest of the
bourgeoisie.
financiers.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody knows, it's at least all leftists generally have this idea that obviously, like, capitalism stunts technological advancement. I mean, why would they? It's
Yeah.
not profitable. Why would you cure cancer? That's not profitable. Why'd you cure anything?
Why have free energy?
Yeah, you don't want
Because
free
of-
energy.
Well,
I mean, like Tesla.
JP
Yeah.
Morgan stopped funding Tesla.
Look that up.
Well, if they have the cure for cancer, why do like millionaires like and billionaires like Steve Jobs die from cancer?
Well, Steve Jobs literally chose to die from cancer. Like he was doing like what, some like weird vegan like homeopathic thing. He didn't want to do like chemical stuff. Besides,
Yeah.
we all know, Josh, that the bourgeoisie are like in a war with each other. So it's not like Bill
Yeah,
Gates like
no.
wants like Steve Jobs to stay alive. He's like, he probably gave him cancer.
Well,
There's a headline. That needs to be the title of the video.
Gates gave Steve Jobs cancer.
You gotta eliminate the competition at
Certainly
all
benefited
costs.
From it. Yeah.
No, but I definitely agree though with capitalism. There's a general lack of economic independence with
BRB.
intellectuals, which
Alright.
is why they, are usually shit. And this is for both scientists and artists, of course.
Yeah. So what should we talk about in the interim? I don't know when he's going to be back. But yeah, we don't have free energy because, of course, perhaps Tesla invented free, had a way of making energy free.
All right,
freely
back.
created.
You're talking about the Tesla
All right,
thing?
good.
Yeah, guys,
Yeah,
if you're
just
not aware of it, yeah,
time.
just look up Wardenclyffe Tower, I think that's what it's called. And it was going fine until like JP Morgan found out that Tesla wanted to use it as a test for like seeing if you could get like free wireless energy going out. And then immediately the first thing is like, we can't put meters on that. We can't charge for it. So he killed it. You know that meme, shut it down. Except he wasn't a Jew. So there you go.
Well,
Yeah,
he
but
did
he was like a lieutenant for the Rockefellers, so.
J.P. Morgan had a.
Or the
What
Russians.
wasn't the
This is
Monopoly
like-
Man like based on JP Morgan's look?
Yeah,
yeah.
he even looks like him.
No, but like J.P. Morgan, this is kind of off topic. He had a weird fucking nose, and he wouldn't let anyone take pictures of it.
Maybe it's because he was an
Some
alien.
people managed to.
You know, there's literally like, there is a race of these big-nosed aliens. Like they have this weird, like square, giant nose. There's a picture of that one. Like, what was it? Was it a musician or something? Hyperion? I don't know. Point is, people who have like tripped out
Remember?
and like gotten abducted, they've seen these weird aliens with big noses. The nose knows.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's keep going. So capitalism, keeps technology down. It's not their interest. They're not interested in scientific advancement for its
I don't
own sake.
Maybe Nikolai Gogol's The Nose was based on those aliens.
Who knows? Where were we? Science is not independent. It is not the same thing.
Embryonic stage. Right.
Yeah. They can thus install.
Yeah. Middle of the paragraph. Embryonic stage. We still have
Yeah,
no
yeah.
real knowledge.
We still have no real knowledge of what exists. We still don't have any real knowledge of what exists here today, close to 2020. And if you think we do, you are so out of the loop. I guess, moment of not joking. Like, seriously, keep up with, just for about 3 months. Every week, check up on these sites that always report on new findings for specifically astronomy. You can actually look at anything and you'll see this. Most headlines are about, gee, here's something nobody expected. And then everybody forgets it. This breaks relativity, and then everybody forgets it. This was not predicted, and everybody forgets it. And everybody just listens the mantra over and over of like, it's the most well-tested theory we ever had. It's the most successful theory we ever had. What the hell's that worth when it can't predict just most of anything we find? Like,
Well, also too, like when you hear about these groundbreaking scientific discoveries in the papers, usually what happens is that many times those results are actually not replicated.
yeah, they're
Like it's just a one-time thing, and everyone blows it out of proportion.
yeah, you know,
so-
they report things, you know, just once, or like, you know, scientist, a new theory, and you're like, oh, he just got some new axioms and, you know, thought up some bullshit. Whatever, man. Like, simulations are thought to be experiments nowadays, like equivalent to experiments. That is so stupid. I don't even. Scientists prove how they did. They made a simulation in a computer. Sure, it was $1 million supercomputer, but that is not equivalent to real life whatsoever. Like, how anybody takes that as evidence is beyond me.
Well, we're in postmodernity where all of real life is basically a simulation anyway.
Whoa, you're getting too deep right there. Too deep.
know.
Too woke.
You're getting to Matrix levels, Baudrillard things, you know. The map is a territory.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not ready.
By the way, that's a common theme in like the UFO community. Like the Matrix, like that's kind of like the dominant idea. Most of them thinks we're in the Matrix somehow. But you know, it's not like a computer matrix. It's like, you know, whatever a real matrix would be like. I don't know.
Elon Musk said it's 99.99% probable that we're in a matrix, but I don't know what he meant by it.
Yeah, he's full of shit.
Plus, he's crazy
Elon
too.
Musk.
Yeah, I just think like people respect him. I don't know if our audience would or anything, but you know,
He's
well known,
He's
and he
part of
says
the
it, so-
bourgeoisie.
yeah.
So why would I listen to him?
Well, I don't
He just
value
wants
his
to-
opinions or anything. I just think it's odd that he said that. You know, no one says he's crazy or anything because of that.
He just wants to conquer the universe with capitalism. He's a
Mhm.
neocon, but he's brought it to intergalactic levels.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. He's also good.
He
He
said that
also,
Tesla.
oh yeah, he said
Sorry,
he
go on.
said Edison was better than Tesla because he was a better marketer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, talk about priorities, man. Like when you think that you are so far gone, your opinion is worthless to me. But all right, we don't know what exists. We constantly correct the very basis of discoveries, whether for Newton, Einstein, or all others. The forms and combinations of matter are infinite. There are forces within it that we do not utilize. We must discover the power of what it is possible to do. The force that allows us to raise our arms is called kinetic energy. Why this energy? What is it that impels the activity of the cells? There is no outside force. It is an internal movement. What is this force? The force that impels movement is a source of energy which must have a primary form of development even before it lifts the arm, because there already exists a capacity that allows us to conceive in our spirits of the need to raising our arms. Posadism, woke dualism proved true. Descartes, you know, is kind of like waving a flag in his grave. This is breaking some materialist ground right here. It's getting under it. Now, I don't know about the infinite combinable forms of matter. Sure, I guess, in a way. Especially once you get into like higher dimensions of like space, things get just bizarre, and like the ways you can like connect things is, I don't know, man. 19.5. One Japanese scholar advanced a conclusion, rather like our own, concerning earthquakes. He said that it was criminal to waste the energy made by these earthquakes. It is possible to make a system drilling into the earth, this like a sort of radar, measuring all the movements, the gases within the earth, its interior shifts due to gas or to the rotations of the sun and the earth, of which scientists are still unaware. The Japanese scholar also said that we could predict, contain, and indeed make use of this energy. We said the same thing at the time of the Chilean earthquake of 1961.
I love how he didn't even bother to remember his name. He just called him one Japanese scholar.
Well, you know, we all know that the Asians are a collective identity, Josh. They're a hive mind. So, you know, if you speak of one, you speak of them all. So, you know, it's okay.
You're gonna get fucking killed for this video, I swear.
People, implying, yeah. Implying people can't, you know, see what is implied.
Yeah, implying we have anything to lose.
Implying.
Implying we won't be proven right through history.
Just wait, Josh. 2025. And if not that, then 400 years.
Yeah. Just wait 400 years and we'll be proven right.
Yeah, these are all in-jokes, people. No, we're not going to tell you. Moreover, okay. So the idea of like using earthquakes, yeah, we could actually, but it's actually more work than it's worth, really. At least with the technology we have right now.
The Chinese didn't think so.
Have they done that? Have they tried it?
Yeah, according to Zizek, they did. But, you know, reliability, not sure. He said, a Chinese friend told me.
Once again, a Chinese, a Japanese, an Asian man.
I mean,
Well,
I
he
hate
can't
to
out
say
his
this.
Chinese friend.
Well, I hate
Yeah,
to
go.
say this, but Zizek really needs to stop relying so much on personal anecdotes to make a point.
Yeah, he said
I don't know.
he has said some weird things. Yeah, like about like my friend so and so in like China tells me this, and like he doesn't give any more evidence other than that.
Oh, my Greek friend
And
told
like
me this.
he always
oh, my...
like says he has like friends from everywhere, and I'm
Yeah.
not sure if he even has these.
I mean, Zizek makes citations like the people in the UFO committee make citations. Like someone deep in the black told me this. No, I can't tell you, but trust me.
It's like
Pakistani taxi driver who told me.
Yeah, go ahead, Kaya.
Yeah, I agree. But
or I was saying
sorry,
like,
go on.
oh, it's always this person I know who tells me he has the documents.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear that a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
This guy I
Zizek
know, he personally knew Mao. I swear.
Zizek wrote a great article about Black Panther, the movie. I haven't seen the movie, but I read the article, and it seems apt.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean, it's
I
along
read
the
it.
same lines as what Irame wrote. Irame Ose Frimpong, he wrote a great article about it too.
Yeah, like follow that guy on Twitter or like on Facebook. He makes some pretty fiery posts.
And YouTube, he has a
he has a
channel.
YouTube channel.
He has like one of the most woke Twitters I've ever seen.
He has this thing against like white women, especially. I mean, I would too if I was black. Yeah, he's married to a white woman.
Yeah, he's married to a white woman.
He's always bringing up how, you know, it's mostly white women who are like one of the most reactionary blocs in the U.S., which is historically true. So anyways, technology. Chaya is like a Jewish. She's honorarily brown.
I'm not mentally white.
Yeah, she's honorarily
not
brown.
mentally white.
We know you're part of the woke crowd.
Yes.
But anyways, so the energy thing, yeah, look, there's a lot of things that can be done. There's a lot of things. Geothermal's one of them, and that's actually legitimate. Some countries have done it. I forget who it is. Was it Iceland?
It was Iceland.
Yeah, Iceland too.
Yeah, so you can do that. I mean, you don't even have to use like the earthquakes. You could just drill down into the earth, and you know, that's it.
I mean, how easier is it than to just drill a hole in the ground? I mean.
Yep. So that's not really difficult. I mean, it's region dependent, but it's feasible. Wind is feasible, although I do agree with people that it's kind of ugly. You know, it's like it's cool when you see, you know, them every once in a while, but you know, when like all the hills are covered in windmills, it's ugly. Wave power, that's being done. It's legit. See, the next step is really pyramid power. just like the Egyptians.
I hope so.
By the way, actually, there's some interesting stuff about a rise in like certain frequencies when you are around pyramids. You can actually read it on technical equipment. It's pretty weird.
Some reported having felt something too, but who knows? It could have just been the fact that they were there and they found it significant.
So yeah.
So it's like a.
So maybe there could be some
Yeah.
kind of like resonant tuning that pyramids were built for or something. Seems quite believable to me, since like there is evidence, physical evidence of it, that something goes on there. But we don't know, because we don't know shit. Moreover, where was I?
Scientific knowledge is still limited.
Scientific knowledge is still limited as regards understanding the organization of matter that has permitted a certain form of life and reproduction on Earth. And before you go, but evolution, fuck you, that's not an answer. I mean, seriously. But evolution,
Yeah, I
like,
agree,
well,
yeah.
you can't. That's not explaining what's being asked. You know, when you're asking about the origin of life, you're asking, okay, how the hell do chemicals come together and suddenly form this a living circuit? And it's not just like a simple electric circuit. No, it's a very complex circuit that exists in like this physical code.
Yeah.
And
Just be honest
And
if
of
you're an
course we
atheist
have-
and just rely
We
upon
have
evolution.
spirit, we have freedom. How the
Mhm.
fuck did that happen?
Yeah. How did consciousness come about? But, like, just be honest if you're an atheist and admit that you don't understand evolution. I mean, we all know that no one understands what evolution truly is.
I mean, like
Feel
we
better.
know. I mean, like it's a descriptor. It's not an explanation. Like we
Yeah.
know how it works from the stuff that we can see in the living world, but there's just some radical stuff that just we have no explanation for.
Mm-hmm. Atheists or humanists or whatever, they always assume that, like, creationists are idiots, but they don't understand their own belief, you know? They think happened.
Implying the Big Bang isn't crypto-creationism.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I mean, what was it? And since it's recent and since it's related, like Stephen Hawking died this last week. Like one of the
Yeah.
headlines was like, one of his last series, he said like he finally understood what happened before the Big Bang. And it was this really like convoluted stupid shit about like that's just conceptually incoherent about space and time and like this multiple folded dimension stuff. Still
Yeah.
doesn't get rid of like there was nothing and then there was something. And there's a joke here about what I forget I don't know who the original person is, but I mean it's a pretty good one. Atheists can tell you that give us one free miracle and we'll explain the rest. And that's basically what the Big Bang is. And you can fight me on that in the comments. Bring it.
Brief history of time.
Or I like the Marxist-Leninists who insist that the Big Bang is against dialectical
Oh God, who
materialism.
was it? Who's this Trotskyist guy? He actually wrote a book.
Yeah.
Oh, I know the exact.
Allan
book you're
Wood,
talking about
yes,
because I
Allan
have it in
Woods.
the book. Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Reason and Revolt, I think. That's
Yeah,
the name of the
he
book.
literally said, Einstein could not be right because his theory was undialectical. You can look it up. He's like one of the head theorists of the
British Trots.
the British Trots, the Fourth International tendency.
Yeah.
Like the guy is like, what is he, Welsh? He's Welsh. He has a smooth voice. I like listening to him, but he's so full of shit. And his science is just, it's bad. I mean, let me tell you, I also agree that Einstein is undialectical, but for different reasons. And I can actually back that up.
You mean his wife, who actually created the theories?
Well, no, she didn't come up with relativity. She came up with E
I know.
equals mc squared.
Yeah.
Einstein's the one that came up with the special relativity stuff. E equals mc squared has more to do with the photoelectric effect. So, he came up with relativity, but at the same time, that he got the Nobel Prize was for the photoelectric effect, which was his wife's work.
Yep.
It was his
But
cousin,
she
too,
couldn't
wasn't
accept
she?
You know,
Yeah, she was his cousin, right?
she was. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And
Damn, I hadn't heard that in a long time. I forgot.
yeah, and then like they ended up getting divorced because you got two people who are just like kind of math nerds and autists, and like obviously it's just not gonna work out. It's not saying anything against autists. I got autism too. But then again, I've never had anything work out either, so maybe there's something to it. Bad joke. Anyways, let's continue this.
You can be the next Tesla, yeah. He died a virgin.
Our scientific capacity is limited as a result of the missed possibilities of such a study, as well as being limited by lack of financial means. It is the capitalists who have these means in hand. They have capitalist interests. This is a very significant limitation. Yes, it is. Moreover, our capacity and audacity for making further observations are limited by the conception of the world established by the appropriation, utilization of property. Our knowledge is limited by particular interests and social prejudices. That is totally true. Ideology, people. It's not just capitalists. There's always this, academia has like this entrenchment of ideologies within institutions, which is just, it happens no matter what. Like you'll have that too in communism if you still have this sort of like dependence on a vetting process of a who's who. And, who gets this?
And it pervades just as much.
Yeah, who gets so long as you have a body that is the one that certifies knowledge, and knowledge isn't free for every person to just verify for themselves or produce for themselves. There's always going to be this skewing of like just an entrenched ideology. People make their names on these theories. People make their living on these theories, and like they don't consciously do it, I think, but they unconsciously are just adamantly opposed to anything that ends up proving them fundamentally wrong. Because then you look like, I don't know. Supposedly, this is supposed to be like the scientific attitude of like, you are glad that you're proven wrong. Because like, hey, now you're getting towards the truth. But a lot of these people don't care about that. A lot of these people care more about their prestige and careers rather than the truth.
Vulgar scientists, yeah. As Kojève said.
Yeah, vulgar science, vulgar materialists. And vulgar idealists, vulgar anything.
Yep.
So this is evidently the case, for example, as regards heart transplants. Capitalist mentalities prevent the bourgeois from having any perspective, impeding them from taking an interest in the world and limiting their daring to observe it. If they had audacity and resolution, they would realize that they have gone awry and that their existence is no longer justified. Their interests limit and box them in. They place the same limits on science, chemistry, and medicine. Conversely, there is no reason why this should be so on other planets. So I don't know what he's talking about with heart transplants. Maybe it was like a new thing, and then people were like going against it back in the day.
Maybe.
Probably. I mean, like people had all these like weird ideas about like fluids and organs back in the day. It's kind of like how is it Mormons? Who is it that like? No,
Mormon?
It's the Church of the Latter-day Saints.
Oh, yeah,
Mormons? Okay, like the ones who don't believe that you should transfer blood because, the souls.
The Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, yeah, they do too.
Yeah, thank you about that. So, somebody who believes in that, probably also believes like weird things, like you shouldn't transfer organs because, you're stealing somebody's soul or something. The class struggle does not have to exist. True that. On Earth, on the contrary, the process of history has played out like this. There is no reason why the same should be true of other planets. The organization of society could take an infinitely superior form without struggle and antagonisms. There is no reason for fighting. If beings on other planets saw us, they would say astonished, "Oh, they are fighting over a car, shooting, killing each other." For them, death does not exist. Here it does. The notion of death, the extinction of matter or of cells, is not the same everywhere. For elephants, life lasts 260 years. Seriously? I know they lived long. I thought that was like for turtles, but like never heard of an elephant that old. Maybe mammoths or something.
Whales live that long, but not elephants.
For human beings, 100 and on average 70, 80. If the elephant can live for 260 years, it is because the organization of matter in this form allows for such a long life. But why cannot we not imagine living as long in a different form to the elephant, without a trunk? Why not? We do not know if beings exist in other systems or galaxies, nor how they are constituted. Which is, by the way, I mean, he's here attacking the hubris of morons who say, you know, that they think that everything in the universe has to be in the form of, you know, DNA-arranged chemical life. But there actually is indeed nothing that we know of that logically necessitates this, you know. What if you could have, like, cognizant living energy beings of some sort? I mean, the way life works is basically some sort of circuit goes on. Why can't it be the case for other circuits? I don't know. I mean, I used to think, like, on that same line, you know, where I thought that, well, that just can't be possible. That's just not how it works. But indeed, we don't know. And if you take, you know, ET contactees to be truthful in any way, they claim they meet beings of, you know, pure energy and whatnot.
Yeah, made of pure energy and, like, energy in the sense of, like, emotion.
Yeah, like higher
Well,
consciousnesses and whatnot.
different dimensional forces.
So yeah, and I mean, like, wait, God, once you get into different dimensions, like you don't even know what's possible because of the weird things. Weird things happen with its geometries, and technically it's still material. I mean, like, it's still spatial dimensional, and that's all really matter is. Space self-enclosed. Yeah, I don't know. But, so, you know, the idea that, well, that's not material, well, it could be. No reason not to think it isn't. After all, we have E equals MC squared. It's the same shit. The one thing people are adamantly against is, like, you know, people meet aliens and they're like, well, why do they look like us? You know, how strange is it that they look like us? You know, that's just not logical. You know, you'd think that that's just not plausible. You know, they look radically different. Well, why would they?
According to Hegel, that form is the...
According to Hegel, the authority on the metaphysics of all this. Nah, I don't think so. He says there is a logical reason for why one might think that intelligent beings happen to have a humanoid form. You know, 2 legs, 2 arms, you know, forward-facing eyes, and all these things. But I mean, humanoid has a wide spread of, like, possibilities. I mean, you can have reptilians, you can have mantis people,
you can have mantis people,
you can have the gnomes. God knows.
Dog-faced people.
Yeah.
Wonder who you're criticizing
Birds. Huh?
Wonder who this criticism is in response to, in reference
of Posadas?
Oh, probably just
about the humanoids.
Oh, okay.
Oh, about people who say that, like, one of the arguments people give, like, for why they don't believe that aliens visit here is because the people who have met the aliens, they're like, well, they look like human beings. They're humanoids. They're like, why would they look like us? And I mean, like, people like say, well, it's not possible. Well, yeah, this is going on a tangent, but it's related. The idea of possibilities requires you to know the actualities. We have one known actuality. We have one sample and nothing else. So we have no basis to talk about what is and is not possible at all.
Yeah.
You know, you have a one-sided dice and you roll it and you're like, well, what's the possibility it's going to, like, roll on 1? Well, what the hell are you talking about? You don't know. There is no possibility, really.
Are we considering Gödel here or no?
Gödel had some...
Yeah.
Gödel has some... What is it? There's a list somewhere, actually.
He said 1 + 1 = 2 most of the time.
Yeah, that's the joke. No, it's based on
cool.
the axioms of mathematics.
Oh, okay.
If you change the axioms, so, you know, one actually stands for, like, something else, and you have a different base.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, you have, like, a different base system, like 1 + 1 ends up equally different. I have no idea how base works. It's not that complex because it's one of the simpler ideas, but I learned about it in, like, some, like, middle school, and I forgot, and I don't care. I probably should. Supposedly the 12 base is the one that aligns with sacred geometry.
System.
Yeah, it's more standard than 10 base because Native Americans had that, Egyptians had that. So, you know, having a 10 base is actually weird.
Yeah.
And some people who are into like sacred geometry and numerology think that it's got something to do with stuff like 19.5. But yeah, when he says the class struggle does not have to exist, Marxist is going to hate me for this, but indeed, the more and more I think about it, the less and less it makes sense that there is actually anything necessary about the class struggle other than ideological reasons. The Native Americans were nowhere near as advanced as European as Anglo societies in the sciences and production of food and whatnot, and yet they weren't all completely. Yes, they did have conflicts, but something like say like the Cherokee Nation, the Iroquois and whatnot, they had governments and they were pretty at peace. They were a lot more egalitarian than Europeans were, and this whole phase of class struggle, advancing through class struggle didn't quite happen as far as we know.
Yeah, especially the communist Inca.
Yeah, so this idea that there is a necessity for that is materially, historically, not very well sourced. I mean, I thought that before I read this anyway, so there really is just no reason. I mean, the way you conceive the world, the way you relate, has everything to do with it. So long as you're not, like, literally starving, you still have a coherent society most of the time, and there is no reason to have rapacious cultures, really.
The problem is we don't have that, yeah. Thus, the class struggle continues.
The problem is that the Anglo took over the world.
Fucking Anglos.
Anglo-consequentialism, man.
Anglo-analytics and Anglo-empiricists.
But we believe that they could exist. Continuing, it is possible that beings will come to study Earth, what life is like here. Beings who departed their homes for Earth 1 million years ago, they have warp technology. They can get here whenever they want. For us, that corresponds.
I mean, he said that already earlier.
Yeah,
he said that it would take them half a second. Yeah.
For us, that corresponds to 1 million years. For them, it is an insignificant figure, a normal amount. They may well not be subject to our notion of time. That's true. Time has always been and remains a notion picked up by a society divided into classes. Such a society needed to measure time in order to exploit nature, hence this division of time. He's critiquing here the standard. You can read on this. It's very interesting, actually, how time became standardized. Because before, time was about one general large cycles, but was not about any daily cycles. Like there wasn't, you had to work 9 to 5. There wasn't, let's meet here like at 8 in the morning. It was, let's meet here for breakfast. And breakfast was whenever the hell you woke up. Lunch was whenever the hell you had lunch. There wasn't a set time. Things had a flowing time. It was always shifting, compressing and decompressing, expanding. You could take a siesta, you can take a break. There's no rigidity to it. So in that sense, time was not standardized in time. Therefore, the experience of time flows differently. It was closer to our psychological notion of time as opposed to a mechanical notion of time.
Time was only of consequence to those passing through the Negev.
And then, of course, there's certain tribes nowadays that still remain, who are largely uncontacted, and they have different notions of time, different notions of space. But I don't think they're fundamentally different, really. It's really based upon artificial notions of time and space, rather than any fundamental notion. Time is change, no matter what way you look at it, and everybody can acknowledge change. Whether you think about it as a rate of change, whether you think about it in like standard, a flowing or a rigid form. Same thing with space. Whether you think about it 3 dimensions, 4 dimensions, whatever, it's the same basic concept goes around, even if people don't consciously acknowledge it. Otherwise, there is no reason for its existence. I don't know, I think there is. Certainly, we have to deal with periods of time, weather and seasons, spring, summer, autumn, winter, but there is no reason why there should be seasons on other planets. I like seasons, let me tell you. That way, I don't if I want to experience winter, I don't have to go down to like Australia or something.
Yeah. I think they function well enough for the Earth, at least.
Why does it have to rain? I like rain. This apart,
Yeah, I like
time
rain.
is of no significance. This interest in measuring time is relative to nature, to its effect on life, to the effect of energy on the organism, and to due dates in billing. On the other planets, there is no reason why they should be so. I think they also have time. For example, no one has to pay debts by a certain time or needs a heart transplant. True, they probably just grow them in vats or something, or just,
Mhm.
I don't know, like make them out of like, the Star
They
Trek
can clone their
thing, like
bodies
Star
and
Trek
then they could
thing.
put their consciousness into it
Yeah,
if they are dying.
They probably have Star Trek technology and just like make it out of thin air or whatever. Or maybe they're Kantian angels and they have intellectual intuition and their thoughts make stuff.
No.
Like Kant doesn't really talk much about it, but whenever he talks about the logical possibility of higher beings who have access to noumenal realms and intellectual intuition, he's basically usually talking about angels.
Yep.
And angels and God, whatever they think, is literally the objects that exist. There is no difference between thought and being for them. And maybe these aliens, higher beings, whatever you may call them, they have that. I don't know. Supposedly some of them have, but you can never trust the weirdos that talk about this kind of stuff. They could be crazy. Who knows? A being on another planet who saw a heart transplant operation would say, what is it that they're making? The notion that we have of the origin of life is something that we have learned. Yeah, he's definitely right about that. I mean, we make myths. You go back to when we were reading, was it Adorno? No, it was Marcuse, One-Dimensional Man.
Yeah.
Where he
Yeah.
talks about, in one of the readings, he talks about how we always are telling ourselves myths. We're always making myths up. We always look at the world through myths. And, if you recognize there's myths, it's fine. It's okay. You realize you don't have this dogmatic outlook on it of like that you're not aware that it's a story. But when you don't have this awareness that you're working with a myth that like it becomes dangerous and stupid. But each year corrections are made to it. For example, the date of the appearance of human beings on Earth. At first, people spoke of 500,000 years ago, then 1,000,000 years, and now that the first anthropoid appeared some 17 million years ago, and I think it's further down now.
Yeah.
It's also about the so-called, missing the missing links. We really don't have anything so far to fill in a lot of these missing links. Like, for example, the evolution of the modern humanoid happened over a ridiculously small amount of time. We don't know why.
I don't think there is a quote-unquote missing link.
Yeah, there might not be.
If
I mean, that's
certain
assuming
prevailing
things.
theories are
Yeah, I mean,
correct.
that's assuming. Like, this always
Yeah.
assumes a lot of things. Like, for example, like this assumes a view called uniformitarianism, in which like there's a gradual progression, development. It's a smooth development. Whereas I actually side far more with catastrophism, which is there are huge breaks, of which, if you look at things from a standard perspective of just like an assumption of uniformitarianism, they will not make sense. Because you'll see these breaks, and you'll assume there are things in between there when there really aren't. And if catastrophism is true, and I think there's no reason to think it isn't true, as a matter of fact, it's the most logically compelling of them all, of the two, it breaks certain assumptions of history, because certain catastrophes will break the possibility of accessing a prior time. And you can't tell what that prior time is. You're stuck just blindly speculating on certain things that you have no access to, because catastrophes have occurred, and unless somebody survived or something survived that catastrophe, you wouldn't know it. And it also could be the case that something could survive that catastrophe, but you misinterpret it as something, the remnants as something else.
Well, there's certain evidence to suggest that, like a coexistence between hominins.
Yeah, I mean, like Neanderthals, we coexisted with Neanderthals for a
Yeah.
while.
And apparently mated with.
Yeah, that's
And
maybe
that's how
that.
white people came to be.
Yeah, maybe that explains the savagery of the white man. Because Anglos are the only ones that have a part of Neanderthal DNA. Think about that.
Well, no, it's not just Anglos; it's white people in general.
What
Yeah,
other
I'm not
white
innocent.
people? What other white people are you talking about?
He's talking about
Like
Germans and
the
Russians.
Germans, the Slavs,
The Swedes.
I put
Romantics.
those all into the category of Anglos.
Wow, thanks.
That's kind of racist.
I'm sorry, Josh, but racism is prejudice plus power. Literally cannot be racist enough towards Anglos. Ooh, this is good. The dialectical conception of history. Holy shit, we've gone 15 minutes, almost an hour of just like most, like 80% shit posting.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, that's what Posadism intended.
Could you continue reading, Hyperion? It's a bit noisy.
Sure. Yeah. If I stop randomly, I'm sneezing. All the news of UFOs, unidentified flying objects for the layman, around the various parts of the world coincide. There are many coincidences, not all of which are exaggerations. We believe and accept that these beings exist.
And if you
The majority of
don't,
people...
what's wrong with you?
Yeah. The majority of people who have seen them say that they are normal beings, and the people who speak of them say that they do not believe in ghosts or spirits. Many people have already seen UFOs. General McArthur, that Yankee murderer, said with regard to the disappearance of a plane that had struck a strange object.
That Yankee murderer.
Alright. General McArthur said with regard to the disappearance of a plane that had struck a strange object, quote, "Perhaps we, together with the Soviets, will have to make war against an enemy arriving from outside Earth," end quote. But conciliation of this type has its limits. Capitalism has no interest in UFOs, and as such, makes no research in them. It has no interest in occupying itself with these matters because they cannot reap profits, nor are they useful to capitalism. But people see, well, tell that to Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, who are back engineering UFOs. Oh yeah. And Bob Bigelow, look him up.
He's a George Soros of UFOs.
Yeah. Yeah, he's done. He said he was satisfied with what he found out and he stopped. Well, yeah, stopped doing it publicly. Yeah, he started in the... He literally got into real estate so that he could fund his UFO project. Living the dream. Okay, it has no interest in occupying itself with these matters because they cannot reap profits nor are they useful to capitalism. But people see in UFOs the possibility of advancement and progress. This thus accelerates the fall of the bourgeoisie, shown in all its uselessness. All the people who say that they have seen extraterrestrials, UFOs, coincide in the fact that these beings have not frightened them, and that they have made themselves understood without using an audible language, showing them that they mean no harm. They do not provoke a feeling of alarm, but of serenity. They create sensations of mellowness, suppleness, harmony, reassurance. They do not inspire any fear. They must give off a sense of security by their movements, by their facial demeanor, or in other ways. None among those who have seen them have said, quote, "I was scared, they frightened me," end quote.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
On the contrary. Yeah, there are a few now. Maybe he didn't hear of them.
Well, afterwards,
On the contrary.
like most of them, like after like they've had like some kind of like regression therapy, kind of like think about it more positively. But yeah, at first they are terrified shitless.
Well, no shit. I mean,
I would be, even though I believe them. On the contrary, they awaken a pleasant sentiment, one of respect. They must emit some sort of rays that cause this sensation, if they do exist. None among those who have seen them have said that they were attacked. They have shown no interest in attacking, violating, stealing, possessing. They have come to observe.
Yeah, they haven't done anything really. Like people who are like, we gotta. There's some people who are still pushing this line of, we gotta prepare for the, an alien invasion. It's possible they're coming here. Well, they've been here for a long time, and like people was like, oh, they started just in the 1940s. Nah, they've been here for a long time.
Post-disclosure,
Well,
prepare for false flag attacks by the U.S. and their UFOs.
Oh, who was it? Warner von Braun said it.
Like
Werner von
Posadism
Braun
already said in the article, General McArthur, the Yankee murderer, thought there was going to be a war on the aliens.
I mean, like, you think, once they run out of, like, terrorists to kill, guess who's coming next? The next endless war is a war in space. It's against the Martians.
Oh, the Martians hacked our elections. That's what they're going to say.
The Martians are responsible for Trump's 8th election.
Anyways, by the way, the things he said, like he said, they speak in a non-linguistic language. People report like telepathy and whatnot. And by the way, telepathy is like, it's not like you hear words in your head. Like somehow you just know what it means.
It's like you're having a thought that isn't yours.
I mean, like you can have
it's
it.
Like you're thinking in your head, but yeah.
Try to think non-linguistically in your head. You can do it. It's just like it's very weird. Because usually you think the thought and you say the word as well in your head. But you can think the thought without saying the word. It's possible. Somehow, whatever these beings do, they kind of communicate with that. And apparently it's like Hegelian concepts. The structure is all that matters. It's not like letters or words or anything. It's like your mind just knows the structure and recognizes it and knows exactly what it is. If only we could all have that, then we...
It's like picture
yeah,
thinking,
we wouldn't
kinda.
have, like, the Spinozan problem of... Spinoza was a good boy, 'cause he was a good Jew. The best Jew.
Good old bro.
Yeah, and he was... he said that, the major problem of, like, philosophy was that people talk past each other, use the same words, but you don't actually mean the same thing. It's like, well, this kind of thing, you literally can't go wrong. So that's interesting. The whole thing about, like, them controlling emotions, if you're afraid of mind control from the bourgeoisie, these guys have it pat down. They can put ideas in your head which you think are yours. I think Zizek would find that quite scary. I also find it quite scary, but maybe that's just, our individualistic bourgeois side talking.
However, it was, purported to be used for good, to implant certain ideas in multiple people at the same time and so on.
Yep.
So, I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe they know better than we do.
Communism in people's heads.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
probably implanted it in Karl Marx.
Perhaps. Or
And
Gracchus,
Jesus.
at least. Gracchus, Francois Noel Bebouf.
Yep.
Alright. Starting from the fact of the existence of extraterrestrial beings, we can accept that UFOs also exist. I think it's talking directly about their spaceships, right?
Yeah.
We need to wait for further proof. It is possible that they have appeared, though it is also possible that there has been much fantasizing, exaggeration, or mystical deductions on the part of those who have seen them. But there is testimony from people who seem thoughtful. Neither the capitalist system nor the bureaucracy, in the worker states, have an interest in researching this subject because they cannot draw any commercial, political, or military benefit from it. Oh yeah?
Oh no, they had an interest from the beginning, people.
They secretly definitely did.
They were even open about it for a little while after they first started appearing.
Yeah.
They didn't hide it, and then they kind of went, oh shit, this can break a lot of things, especially particularly the economy.
They remembered War of the Worlds, and they were like,
For all of you who think that Blue Book was like all there was, and by the way, they only published 2 of the Blue Books. There were 14 reports, and they only published 2. What about the other ones? Well, guess what was in those? Guess why people from Lockheed Martin like have come out like, you know, after retirement and say, oh, by the way, yeah, we had them. There's actually reports in which, actually recently, December, 5 major guys, one from Lockheed Martin, one ex-CIA, one the guy who literally ran the program for the fucking Pentagon on researching this shit. They all came out and said, by the way, yeah, it's real. We have radar.
Yeah, that was a famous
we have
video.
the radar reports. It was in the fucking front of the New York Times. They've done another story with the Washington Post like last week. They released 2 videos.
Find it on
Yeah, look it
YouTube.
up. So, you know, is there like no proof? Oh, hell yeah, there's proof. They got it up the ass. Are they going to release it? No. You know, they tell you it's there, but they can't release it.
Robert Hoagland commented on that last one, and I watched it earlier. Pretty good. Alright, socialism, on the contrary, does have an interest in this, and so too do the masses.
They did.
Capitalism feels...
Well, they did. I mean, for example, like, well, yeah, the Soviet Union.
He means socialism... Yeah, well, yeah, but he means socialism in general, not necessarily the Soviet Union.
Yeah, you'd think so,
He's talking
except
about
most,
socialism
yeah,
as we
yeah.
think.
Socialism should be interested in it. You know, socialists.
Yeah.
It's literally scientific socialism. But anyways, either way, also the Soviet Union had interest in these things, and they also had their own secret investigations and whatnot. By the way, did you know that Soviet Union was the one who took like most of the weird shit from Germany? Like all like the occult shit that Germany was working on. They took those papers and after World War II, and they actually took it seriously. They were doing a lot of psi research, like remote viewing, telepathy, and a whole bunch of other weird shit.
Yeah, like the Thule Society and so on.
Tula.
Yeah, Tula. People say Thule, though, you know.
Well, it sounds a lot closer to like, because it sounds like, you know, something like what's that horror guy?
Horror guy?
Yeah, you know, Eldritch horrors and whatnot. Cthulhu.
Oh.
Yeah, it sounds like
Lovecraft.
crafting,
Yeah.
like Cthulhu.
Yeah. Cthulhu. Yeah. Tula. That's just the German pronunciation, but yeah. Capitalism feels that it has been made to look inferior, faced with a system that it sees as superior. I don't know, I think people delude themselves enough to think that capitalism really is the best system.
Yep.
People draw the conclusion that capitalism is useless. They say, quote, look at that. And you, what are you any good for? End quote. The ruling class feels diminished. If it could draw a military gain from doing so, it would conduct research. But capitalism tries, on the contrary, to spread the impression that this is fantasy, so people will not think that there are superior forms of relations, and that capitalism is incapable of reaching this level. The worker state will act in a different way because it has an objective interest in developing socialism. But at all events, the facts are coming to light in spite of the smokescreens, because there have already been many testimonies. Oh yeah, the Soviet Union they had like an active thing where they had people report any UFO sighting. They eventually shut it down because they received so many they couldn't keep up, you know. They were just like, fuck it. But there are rumors, probably true, that they kept it going even after they officially, quote-unquote, shut it down.
The capitalists know. Shut it down.
Yeah. The capitalist ruling circles, the chemists, the military, are hiding the facts, but all the information still gets published. Amidst all the current worry about war, revolutions, the preparation of the final settling of accounts between capitalism and the world revolution, the constant strikes and anger against the capitalist system, the occupations of factories, of universities, of land, because these questions preoccupy the whole world. In spite of all these other concerns, people are interested in UFOs. We do not know what form they take, or their number, but they must exist, or else they would not appear like this. There are reasons enough why capitalists would not invent these matters. They could try to use them as, to distract attention, but all this runs against their interests. They could divert attention to a concrete fact, but they do nothing but increase people's certainty that the capitalists are no good. Besides, all this concern with UFOs does not stop strikes or factory occupations or revolutions, nor the progress towards socialism. The preoccupation with studying these phenomena has not yet developed in the worker state, given people's concentration on getting by, and because the bureaucracy is hiding these matters. It is certainly hiding a great amount of research that has taken place in the worker states. People would see forms of existence superior to those we have today. Socialism, on the contrary, has no fear in being compared with or integrated into higher forms of progress.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the real movement. Alright, on the contrary, it seeks out this progress. Quote, "We have nothing to lose but our chains," end quote. This phrase of Marx's can be applied to everything. Moreover, it is absurd that people are discussing the problems with UFOs while millions of others are dying of hunger. It is capitalism and the bureaucracy of the worker states that have led to this prejudice that exists in the world. There are possibilities of exploiting matter that this society is incapable of employing. Capitalism, as well as the bureaucracy in the worker states, is aware of this inferiority. In the worker states, there are researchers who do not measure things in terms of inferiority or superiority, but simply note that in other galaxies and planetary systems, in other universes, it is possible to fully utilize matter and eliminate all this concern with hunger and class struggle. It is possible to wipe the ruling classes out of existence. The system there is superior. The inhabitants of other planets who come here must consider Earth's inhabitants as mad, always fighting one another. The notion of struggle, of confrontation, certainly does not exist where they come from. Why fight? The historical foundation of the capitalist and worker state bureaucracy's lack of interest in studying UFOs and living beings on other planets is that they see the threat of their own elimination. As such, they do not interest themselves with the continued existence, the life, of human beings. Everything that is not of commercial use, or does not serve to facilitate the existence and perpetuation of capitalist power, does not interest them. But since society must live and the proletariat and socialism must advance, these things stimulate people in the capitalist system to concern themselves with the existence of beings on other planets. So too in the worker states. The existence of flying saucers and living beings on other planets is a phenomenon that the dialectical conception of history can admit. The most immediate consequence we can draw is that if these beings do exist, they must have a societal organization superior to our own. Their appearances are not the effect of bellicose or aggressive sentiments. This means that they have no need for war, that they do not come to Earth with goals of conquest in mind. In this planet's history, when a people has felt itself to be more capable and invaded another country, it did so with conquest in mind, in the form of war. The class struggle on Earth is the result of the organization of society into classes, that of the possessors and that of the exploited, the bourgeoisie set against the proletariat, which wants to overthrow it and build socialism. The behavior of these beings, if it is true that they exist, seems not to be aggressive in character. All the people who say that they have seen them, say that none of them were of an aggressive disposition or inspired fear in them. All of them say that they awakened their curiosity. If these were beings from afar, as we have known in our planet's history, with swords, arquebuses, cannons, stones, and rocks, with tools of conquest, they would inspire fear through their aggressive behavior. But these beings come to observe. They try to make it understood that they intend no harm. Their behavior expresses their superior organization.
Yep.
They have no aggressive impulse. They have no need in order to kill. They have no need to kill in order to live. They have come only to observe. We can perceive the existence of such beings, even taking into account the fantasies that exist among the reports, stories, observations, and statements. If they exist, we must call on them to intervene, to help us resolve the problems we have on Earth. The essential task is to suppress poverty, hunger, unemployment, and war, to give everyone the means to live in dignity, and to lay the bases for human fraternity. To this end, we must suppress the capitalist system, as well as the bureaucracy of the workers' states and communist parties who do not want to seize power. The fundamental obstacle we face is the capitalist system. We must suppress the force currently in the hands of the capitalist system. Nuclear weapons. Destroy all nuclear weapons. Destroy the whole military power of this capitalist system, of Yankee, of French, and of British imperialism. Appeal to the masses, and give them the means immediately to destroy capitalism, overcome the bureaucracy of the workers' states, and establish a new society. Socialism.
If only it worked that easy.
Good carry-on call. We must appeal to the beings on other planets when they come here to intervene and collaborate with the Earth's inhabitants in suppressing poverty. We must make this call to them. It is possible to make ourselves understood to them. We must not, of course, expect that they will understand immediately, but we must make appeals to them, if we believe that they can indeed exist. If we have any possibility of making contact with them, we must not fall into individual scientific curiosity out of some desire to see where they come from and to visit other planets. We must unite with them, they who seem more powerful than human beings, such that they will come and help us resolve Earth's problems. Then we can concern ourselves with going to see what other planets are like, how life and matter are organized, and everything regarding nature. But most important is first to resolve the problems of humanity on Earth. We do not have a fantasist or idealist position with regard to flying saucers. As we accept that they exist, we want to use all means at hand, including those from outside this planet. When we seriously reach a scientific discovery, we must try to use it to the benefit of humanity.
Yep. Except just to talk about what people who meet these beings say, they're not going to come and intervene.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew you were going to say.
And the reason is because they're not here to say, it's kind of like, what the prime directive is. It's not their business to come save us from ourselves. If we have problems, we made them, and we got to fix them. If you notice,
they're rooting for us.
That's basically all they kind of do. They kind of come here, they take a few people, and they're like, you give them the hippie message of like love each other and you stop fucking killing each other, and you can make a wonderful world. Go ahead.
Oh, pardon me. One thing I have heard is that abductees have said that one thing the aliens do tell them is that they're very worried about the state of the Earth. Like, they're worried about how humans keep destroying the Earth through pollution and environmental recklessness and all that.
They have a anti-war, especially anti-nuclear message, especially environmental message, more than anything.
It's like that Keanu Reeves movie we watched, where he said, "I'm a friend to the Earth," and he meant blowing up the humans.
Yeah, that was what was that movie? The Day the Earth Stood Still. Not the first one, the second remake.
Yeah, the remake. Yeah, the first one's probably better. I think I've seen it, but I don't remember it.
But yeah, so unfortunately, the aliens say no to Posadism. But hey, they do give people some certain scientific ideas. Of course, it's always like a hearsay of like, some big scientist, secretly hush hush told me one day, sent me an email or talked to me in a cafe. Nobody ever saw it. And they told me, I didn't get this idea. Just came up into my head. The aliens gave it to me. Well, if they do that, they're intervening, but in very small ways. And what we do with it, well, that's kind of our problem. If the U.S. government ends up finding out that you came up with something that was like free energy or some shit, and they end up like, shooting you, and you end up drowning in a river or something, well, what are they going to do? The way somebody put it, I think, is kind of like about as good as it gets. We're kind of like reality TV. We're like the most exciting thing going on in this galaxy at this point.
Yeah.
Everybody, most of them come here and like don't do anything. They just watch. It's kind of like, what are the dumb, hairless monkeys, gonna do to themselves this century? And then like a few of them kind of go and like, do stuff and like check on people and whatnot, and that's about it. Flying saucers are pretty dope, though. They do all kinds of funny shit. Continuing.
All right. Well, you want to read
Yeah.
now?
The infinite development of
Okay.
humanity's scientific capacity. The longest human life of which we know was 160 years in duration. I doubt it. Because the Bible says the longest one was like 900 from Adam.
Yeah.
You know, the Jews are pretty meticulous at keeping their records. I believe it. Then Noah lived like what, like 500 years or something?
Methuselah lived 969, right?
Point is, I think like after Noah, everything started going down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know about like 1960, about 1968. I don't know like, where the hell. You always hear these crazy stories.
1968?
Yeah, you always hear these weird stories, like, you know, lady in like South America claims to be like 150 years old. It's like, well, yeah, well,
There's like a Greek island where everyone's like there are a bunch of old people that are like 120. It's odd
maybe it's on 19.5.
Well,
because they eat well and stuff.
I just hope there aren't people that old, because like the old people we already have are already bad. Like God knows how bad they are.
What do you mean? How bad?
Reactionary.
You know, like, fucking
Oh,
yeah,
reactionary.
old people are like the worst.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like we should turn Florida into a gulag and put all the old people there. I mean, most of them are already living in Florida, so we just
Gulag
need to move the
Peninsula.
rest there.
Alright, we can keep our full mental faculties intact up to around 80 or 90 years of age. Or right up until you die. I mean, like, some people, like, they are sharp as day, you know, up until the day they die.
Yeah. Not everyone develops Alzheimer's.
Yep. But an elephant which lives for more than 260 years has a much faster memory. You know what they say, an elephant never forgets. By the way, I was watching a lot of stuff on elephants like 2 days ago. They're a lot
Really?
cooler than I thought. You know, they're
Yeah.
they're a lot more human than I thought. And I already thought they were pretty, you know,
I like
human.
the one that paints itself.
I like the one that was like
Have you seen that one?
playing the piano and like bopping its head and like dancing.
Yeah.
Josh saw the video.
Yeah, the thing about the ones that paint, they aren't like actually thinking the images and
I
painting
know.
them. They taught them to paint those. But
Yeah,
the bopping
it's
the
still
heads
cool.
is genuine.
Like, seriously, guys, there was an elephant playing the piano, bopping its head when it got so excited that it was dancing. it was great.
It's wiggling its butt.
It was there was a guy playing a blues song on the piano, and the elephant got so excited it started, like, when it got really frantic, that he would just start bopping his head and like dancing. It was cute. See, save the elephants. I don't know about whales. Whales, yeah, we gotta save the whales, but at the same time, you know, what do whales do except just eat a bunch of shrimp? Krill. They gotta do something, I just don't know what they do.
They play hide and seek.
They know the ocean more than we do, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They can sing.
Yeah, and they can hear each other from long distances.
Just to do. Extraterrestrial beings.
I mean, I think America has enough whales as it is.
Come on. They're pigs, not whales.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Whale
just the
Mart.
bourgeoisie.
Pigs are pretty cute, though. I do wish there was, like, you know, like actual
don't-
micro pigs.
Don't insult pigs. Oh, micropigs.
Yeah, you ever seen that? You know,
In
they're like.
nature, yeah. Oh yeah. I know.
I wish there was. You know, it'd be like having a dog, but
Uh-huh.
they're more intelligent.
Yeah, it'd be like Green Acres for everyone.
And then they can like go around and get me truffles on top of whatever.
Yeah.
So extraterrestrial beings could do so more than 1,000,000 years. Wait. Could do so for more than 1,000,000 years. Yeah, some of them, you know, just live forever, just can't get out. Have there not been over 1 million years of human existence, and it reproduces itself incessantly without destroying itself, without its reproduction wiping it out? Matter, in the case of mankind, persists by means of reproducing itself. It does not disappear. Just one form of the organization of matter, the form of human life, disappears. The matter transforms to something else and takes part in the transformation of something else. Well, it's not so much that matter is reproducing itself, in the case of mankind. It's the species, the universal, the spirit. That one thing nobody wants to talk about and accept as real, the soul.
Oh.
By the way, all the aliens swear there's a soul and that we're stupid, for not believing in it.
Uh-huh.
They think we're kind of funny that way.
Well, I mean, you're an alien and you're saying the soul's real, so...
Well, Josh, I mean, have you watched Evangelion?
Watch what?
Evangelion?
Nah, I haven't.
Oh, well, one of the guys there, Professor Fuyutsuki, he literally has, they show it for, one episode, for, a second. His job before he joined, NERD was, metaphysical biology, which was the study of the soul. That's what we are, metaphysical biologists.
Xenobiologist. Yeah.
Exopoliticians. Transdimensional communists.
Yeah.
On other planets, matter could transform itself without needing to destroy its state of existence, nor its constitution as a living being, pure energy and whatnot, I don't know. It may well not have to be reduced to ashes in order to feed something else. What is the meaning of a seed? It is a matter of a primary state, which stimulates other elements and is reproduced in another form. It may be the case that among other beings there is no need for death for the sake of reproduction. We are not saying that this is so, but it's totally possible. Energy is still used in a very mechanical, limited, and rudimentary fashion. Today we make use of the transformation of matter into energy, but not the energy that already exists in a natural state. This must be done. By the way, what he's talking about is not so crazy. There are people who just feel meditation. Meditation does weird things. If you think that there's it's woo nonsense, there is a scientific side to that which is just bizarre. Nobody quite understands it. You just sit down, you just kind of clear your head and you do nothing, and suddenly your body experiences weird things. There's this Swedish guy, I think he's Swedish. I don't know his name off the top of my head right now, but famous for just I don't know, the guy just kind of got obsessed with cold and just naturally learned how to meditate, nobody taught him or something. And he figured out how to modulate his body temperature, both cool it down, heat it up. So the guy climbed Mount Everest in a fucking shorts and a t-shirt. Oh wait, no t-shirt,
Yep.
sandals.
Yeah, it's just
And he didn't fucking die. And they've done studies on him too, where because of that he can also modulate his immune system. So just need to clear your body of bacteria, bad bacteria. Well, just give yourself an instant flash of what's it called? Fever, a flash fever, and now you're done. Well, I don't know that's how that works, but supposedly it really makes his immune system a lot stronger. And they've tried it with multiple people, so hey, there's something to that. Something about the natural energy of the body. Weird things.
What did you want to say, Hyperion? You said my name.
Did I?
I said Dutch.
He's
Oh.
Yeah, he's Dutch. His name is Wim Hof.
I thought you said Josh.
No, Wim Hof.
Okay, so this must be done. That is, use natural energy, like pyramids. For example, we could suppress all of oil refining necessary for the transformation of this matter into energy. One day, energy will come from the air, indeed. Electricity is part of the structure and behavior of matter. Yes, it is. We profit from this because we have discovered it. But all of this is very limited. Tomorrow electricity will not be necessary. Everything that exists is energy. The condition of existence of an object is that it has energy. I wouldn't say that it has, more so that it's just a contained structure of energy. Because just by the way, what do you think matter is other than, just a structure of spinning space upon itself, which causes resistance to other spaces? The organization of the human body, the brain, and the other organs and senses, is that proper to Earth? On other planets, it could be very different. We feed ourselves because the human organism is constituted in such a fashion as to make feeding ourselves necessary. Yeah, apparently some aliens don't eat. But I think that sucks. But at the same time, if you didn't have any cravings to eat, you wouldn't think it sucks either. So.
Well, sometimes too, food can be very dominating. Like you're always thinking about eating.
And of course, with so many people who don't have access to food, because we need food, they live like shit. Be much better if we didn't have to eat.
I like eating. I don't eat all the time.
Yeah, I enjoy it, but it's not necessary that.
I mean, I love food.
Humans had to develop to eat.
I mean, I
Yeah,
love
to
eating and I love cooking, but at the same time, it can be a major distraction. Like, I'm always thinking about, what am I going to make for dinner, or when am I going to go out to eat next? I could be reading or studying.
Mm-hmm.
God, you sound like Chomsky.
And of course,
Chomsky hated eating.
She's going to take that as a compliment.
Oh no, I can't stand Chomsky.
Oh, okay. Yeah, true.
Well, I mean, he defends Pol Pot, so.
Yeah, he's all right in my book. Just kidding.
And also, of course, we spend so much time shitting as well. It's because of eating.
Yeah, shitting is indeed
I think their point
a pretty time-consuming thing I'd rather not do.
Yeah, it should be like the so-called, I guess like the Greek gods or whatever, where they could consume it, but it remained,
Like, I wouldn't mind doing photosynthesis. Like, I could be green like my avatar, and, I wouldn't have to eat. I could just stand in the sunlight, read a book in the meantime,
nutrients.
and it'd all be fine.
Yep, so alright. Where was I? The scientific capacity of humanity is determined by societal organization. Yes, it is. Organization of society, in terms of private property, is very limiting because the elan, courage, and audacity allows for or determined by the interest of individual appropriation. And that's right. We have a lot of people. People aren't aware. Especially on the fringe. There's a lot of people on the fringe. They're not both. They're accredited and they're unaccredited, and people are curious. A lot more people are curious than you expect. And, people engage scientific pursuits out of sheer curiosity. They just want to know. And, they find useful and interesting things, all the time. So imagine, if everybody had access to some of the biggest scientific equipment around, we'd have an explosion of real scientific research as opposed to the crap that we have most of the time nowadays, which is just nonsense. Just stuff published for the sake of publishing, nothing really useful from much. 90% of those papers are retracted in a couple of years, because most of them are pharmaceutical papers. And a lot of them don't have reproduced experiments. Our audacity is thus very limited because it stops as soon as his interest is satisfied. If the human being goes further than this, he has the feeling of having gone too far. This social limitation constrains the capacity of society. In socialist society, society's capacity will be unlimited. The notion of life exists in society will be measured by the objective interest of life and progress. Existence and progress will be identified with one another. Notions of conservatism, parasitism, passivity will no longer exist. Progress will be existence itself, as in the case of matter. Matter does not exist if it does not progress and transforms itself. I don't know. I think electrons haven't been changing very much in the last, couple billion years. It seems to exist quite fine. But I get the intent. The same is true for the life of society. It does not exist without progress. Does it? You know, what about medieval times? Well, there was progress, you know. People call it the Dark Ages, but it really wasn't.
I mean, like the medieval monks, a lot of them, the scholars, they made a lot of important contributions. But for the most part, like, the Dark Ages were, like, very dark in comparison to, like, the Greek and Roman days.
And that's what most people think. I have it saved somewhere, like some article going on about like how people misunderstand that, you know, that there was indeed a constant progress going through the medieval times. Maybe not in the things that we normally would care about, but then again, they weren't dirty Anglo-consequentialists at the time.
Yeah. But most of the progress during the medieval times was in, like, the Middle East anyways.
That too.
Huh?
Oh no, that was responding to Josh.
Oh. I'm watching elephants listen to Beethoven.
You gotta watch the head bop in the elephant later.
I did. I saw that one all.
All right, so matter does not exist if it does not progress and transform itself. The same is true for the life of society. It does not exist without progress. Society's condition of existence is progress. Immediately, progress will give elan. I suppose elan means here, you know, it's like elan vital, kind of that kind of thing. A force or movement, power to its capacity and to its audacity. Vitality. I should probably Google that. Elan is momentum. Or impetus, impulse. Elk, moose. Zest, flush, zip, dive, run up. Well, that is a whole lot of weird translations. So, momentum.
It's like bread, fire, cosmos.
Bread is the A10.
Yep.
It will not be limited. Society's condition of existence. Sorry. Elan to its capacity and to its audacity, which will be a million times greater than those of the private property system. Private property system. It will not be limited or determined by what suits individual interests. All society will be there to give confidence and reassurance. Common society-wide thought will change the forms of life. For example, in the same time that we today need to reach the moon, we will be able to travel distances of millions of light years. Yep. But you know, Josh, why would you do that when you can remote view it? Today we speak of millions of years. Tomorrow the measure will not be the same. We will easily find ways of solving all the problems deriving from the notions of land, gravity, and atmospheric pressure. We will find a response to the essential problem, the capacity of society organized in a single societal thought will be able to resolve everything. Now, there's idealism if I ever knew one. There will not be, as there are today, certain people who think, certain faculties, certain universities. Universities exist insofar as a division, a separation is made. They serve the exploitation of society for the sake of capitalist profits. Do they? I don't know. Then again, I haven't.
What universities serve for.
Well,
He says it the next sentence.
They reproduce capitalist ideology.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's what it means.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Althusser, yeah.
And, well, I mean, in the case of Russia, they literally created capitalists, in Capitalist Profits, these Harvard economists, they like made friends with Boris Yeltsin and a bunch of other people before the Russian election, and they made sure the Soviet assets would go just to a few people, and that's why we have the Russian oligarchs.
Yep. But then again, like long before that, what was it? A friend and former teacher of mine who was a historian at my local college. I took one of his classes, and I forget what he's. I'll have to ask him because he said something about how Soviet intellectuals were probably the most like anti-communist of them all, simply because they kind of had means to like get in contact with ideas with the West. And they had this really idealistic outlook of like the West is like so great. Look at all these things that they have and that we don't have, and all these things. But when they finally got capitalism, they got screwed. Except for the couple who came here as token anti-Soviets. To shit talk the former communism and talk about how great capitalism is. This is what universities serve for, ideology. Tomorrow we will have no need for them. Indeed. Progress will be common amongst everyone. Audacity facing up to nature. I don't know what that means, so it's very vague. See, the way I imagine it, it's like, going back to Greece, it's like, if you're somebody who knows something and you want to teach, you'll be like out in the square and you'll be like Socrates, just like going up to somebody, just like asking them why, and then, you just basically school them. And people are like, oh wow, that guy knows stuff, and they start following you, and like you have like something like the Plato School or something. It'd be like that, you wouldn't like set up institutions.
Or to get a following. Yeah.
All right, I just want to say the part where he says they serve the exploitation of society for the sake of capitalist profits. That is what universities serve for. That wording is fucking weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, people who translate things aren't.
He says this is what they serve for. Then he says this is what they serve for.
Yeah, whoever translated
it
probably didn't do a good job. But that's what they do now. I mean, back then they were still pretty radical. I mean, as a matter of fact, that's why they had to have the whole like crackdown on universities. Students became a bit too radical. It wasn't serving capitalist interests.
Well, I mean, this was written during that time in 1968.
So before that, though, I do agree, because it was kind of, university was for elites, it wasn't after like 1950s with the golden age in the US and like, Britain, all these things, that everyone from the lower classes got a chance to like become highly educated, and that did not end well for the most part until they cracked down on it. This question, progress will be common amongst everyone, audacity facing up to nature. The question is important for a training in the knowledge of Marxism. Let me tell you, I hope to God that somewhere in the future nobody remembers the name Marxism or calls himself a Marxist. He says Marxist knowledge is unlimited. No, knowledge is unlimited. Marxism is quite limited. It does not stop at the question of social, economic, and political struggles. Yes, it does. Because when it gets to metaphysics, it gets stupid. You get stuff like Engel's dialectical laws of nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Understanding existence gives the assurance necessary for envisaging the solution of all problems. Well, aren't you Hegel? There is no problem beyond the remit of humanity. Well, in a way, I think, well, at least temporally there is. Once we figured out, like, well, there's like 5 dimensions, or like who knows how many, you can start kind of engineering, figuring out, and like meddling with some brains and whatnot, trying to get people to see that higher reality or whatnot. And you can start evolving yourself in that way. All the problems of humanity influence one another. The more we master knowledge of history, humanity, society, and matter, the more confidence we can have in addressing problems with resolution and audacity. Sure, although frankly I'm of the opinion that we pretty much have all this stuff to fix most of the problems that we have nowadays. It's not a problem of like lacking technical knowledge or the technical capacities, more so just there's no will. But then people will go.
Yeah, I agree.
"Then-"
Adorno said to Horkheimer that he thought that we could solve all of the world's problems if we had just had the will.
Well, yeah. And then the problem of the
That was in the
will,
60s.
the problem of the will then becomes of like, well, why isn't there a will? And then you have ideology and all these other things.
Yep. There are many institutions whose purpose is to prevent this. So
Yeah, and by the way, who was it? I think it's actually Adorno, the one that looks into this more so. I don't know if it's Marcuse mentioned it when the stuff we read, in which he literally talks about how the subject is ontologically stunted. So there's a point at which, I mean, there's almost nothing you're going to do to break that ideology, because that ideology is so constitutive and has stunted the capacity of self-reflection that literally the subject is incapable of doing what a subject does in transcending itself. Which I think that's the real problem more than anything. Like, once it's not so much ideology, because once ideology can be broken if somebody has that subjective capacity. If that subjective capacity has literally been just already like made impossible by, what was it? Remember when we read Ilyankov, about our schools must teach how to think, where he talks about how
yep.
once the mind is deformed, there's almost nothing you can do.
Yeah. There's no reversal. They're set in their ways. That's the problem with people today, that they can't consider things that go against what they've always believed. Including extraterrestrials.
Yeah, just full disclosure, I am for full disclosure.
Yep.
The truth is somewhere deep in the vaults of God knows who has in the governments, but somebody has it.
Do you think it's in the Vatican vaults?
Oh yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, they'd have to know something.
bro. The Pope has his own observatory.
Yeah, the Pope even said he would try to convert them if they came.
Maybe the Pope's an alien.
I don't know, he's pretty woke though.
Yeah, this Pope is pretty
like
woke.
him.
Oh yeah, the current Pope is definitely a communist. Or at least a fellow traveler.
Yeah, fellow traveler, formerly a communist.
How long until he gets the bullet?
I don't know, he's got that Pope mobile with the bulletproof glass.
Yeah, but a lot of people a lot of people like, yeah, not people
like
in.
He meets with people too often, I think.
No, but even like within the church, a lot of people like don't like him. Like,
Oh yeah, I know.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
the people in
You think
general.
Opus Dei is gonna take him
Yeah,
out?
I think the people in general, like in the Catholic Church, like him, but like the people in power, like like priests
Yeah.
and shit, they don't like him. He's
Maybe
way
like that Pope
too
Wars
like,
movie we saw.
he's way too
The second of
liberal and way too socialist for them.
that- yeah, the second of that
wasn't
movie.
he like a proponent
Da
of
Vinci Code too.
liberation theology?
I don't think he was a proponent, but he allowed the sanctification of the beatification of the guys two of the priests who were martyrs of liberation theology in Central and South America. So unlike other popes before him who were just dead set enemies against it, he's allowed them a place. But yeah, I agree with him. The more we master knowledge of anything, the more power we have, the more capacities we have to resolve things. Even without prior preparation and knowledge in a specific field, but scientifically prepared with Marxism as our tool, with dialectics we can address all problems. I don't think so. You ain't going to be addressing psychological problems with Marxism.
Well, there
I
have
think when
been
he's
Marxist psychologists.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like
Think about
the way
speed.
the way I've noticed like psychoanalysis, psychology stuff works. It's like one shoe does not fit all. You know, one size does not fit all feet. Certain people like they respond to certain theoretical frameworks. You know, pretty much with psychoanalysis, most of it is like which framework is going to get you in comfort with like putting together your own story about yourself, your own self mythos.
Yeah.
So for some, the classical Freudian thing works, ends up putting them at peace with it. For some, it's transpersonal stuff. With some, it's like other things. So it's with those things, it's highly individuated. I do not buy at all that like there is a grand theory that will work for everybody.
Yeah, but I think when he says Marxism here, he just means it literally in the sense of post-capitalist, like socialist type society that is open to the consideration of fixing all of these things. Genuinely, not like Marx had all the answers necessarily.
Yeah, but I
Oh,
mean, like you might as well just
gotta-
call it though, like what it
You gotta
is.
keep
Yeah.
reading.
I
He's
know.
gonna address it.
Alright,
Okay.
so this is the essential aspect. The other is socialist audacity drawn precisely from the objectivity of Marxism. We are not subject to nor dependent on what exists now, nor what will come in the future. We are objective and our thoughts has no limits. The only limit is the lack of human capacity to understand more. This human capacity is also a product of social relations. That is why in socialist society, human capacity and knowledge will be the norm for all of humanity. People will have a scientific capacity superior to Marx, which does not at all affect his historical importance. Okay, so that makes me a lot more
Goes
open
along
to
with
that,
what
yeah.
I said, that Marx would want us to go beyond him.
I think Marx would not want us to call it knowledge and not Marxism.
He didn't like the term Marxism, though.
Oh, yes, exactly.
He said he wasn't a Marxist.
Yeah, he said if they are Marxists, I'm not.
That's what I said. I think Marx
Yeah,
would want us to
no.
call it knowledge and not Marxism.
Oh, I thought you said the opposite. Okay. Yeah.
Well,
I agree then.
Marxism is just like a Jewish conspiracy, so...
Can confirm.
The development of history has continued, and today there exist conditions that did not exist in Marxist time. In the near future, scientific knowledge and society's confidence will develop the capacity of society, but we are not yet living out socialism. We are still in this society. The critical spirit is an essential condition inherent to Marxism, of its historical force, inexhaustible up to the point where there appear superior means of interpretation, allowing us to understand the processes of nature. I think there's a higher interpretation. They're superior. It's called Hegelianism. And they mix it in with some Hermeticism and like Kabbalah and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
The dialectic will be one of its aspects. Yup. The critical spirit represents a constant feeling of the need for revision, analysis, observation, study to see what effects and what conclusions arise from the development of nature and society. Marxism in itself is irreplaceable because it is a method for understanding the history of the world. Yeah, it's quite replaceable. Quite frankly, I don't think that
But
history itself, like the empirical record of history, I think that hardly matters, really. Like, once you get to, like, the standpoint in which you can even have what he's saying that, we should have, it's going to be a matter of curiosity rather than anything that's actually really going to affect society as such. It expands your understanding of, like, where you came from, but at the same time, it's going to be mostly irrelevant. Whether you find out, we just did naturally evolve, or whether it was, some aliens that made us, or whatever, it won't matter.
Or whether or not Saturn was visible will not matter.
We will know one day. Means of interpretation superior to Marxism will arise, not because Marxism is incorrect, but because humanity will reach some better understanding. Maybe. The dialectic will be part of some superior tool. All these people who accept the existence of flying saucers do so without the impulse or the will to develop scientific understanding, but simply because they are obliged to recognize a real event for what it is. but they do not have the systematic spirit or the objectivity to make use of the understanding that they have in the social terrain. For example, if life does exist on other planets, this means that there exists superior forms of social organization, which do not oblige them to live as we do here with wars. All those who accept the existence of flying saucers have only reported them, like someone projecting a light onto a wall and saying, "This is a light." They draw no conclusions. Now, they drew plenty of conclusions, trust me. People had like weird theories way back early in the days. I mean, really early on. And there's some weird encounters too. I mean, most of the conclusions they drew were like pretty strange. Like they weren't coherent, but people were trying to integrate that into worldviews and trying to see what it meant. We, on the contrary, take up these questions in order to contribute to understanding history and consequently develop our audacity. The basis of historical audacity is certitude. The Vietnamese masses are a demonstration of this. It is Marxism that gives this confidence. It is very important to concern ourselves with these questions, yet we do not have time. Certainly we must give full attention to these problems we find before us, without thus losing sight of other questions. We are not indifferent to these. We accept that extraterrestrial beings exist as a conclusion of dialectical thought. Sure, this gives us confidence that we can master no matter what other phenomena that exists without being caught off guard. I think we are caught quite off guard more often than not. These problems do not put the dialectical method into doubt. Indeed, they do not. But then again, I'm the kind of guy that will tell you, I don't think the dialectical method itself is anything that you'll be using for anything actually like practical. The way practicality plays out is just kind of like, off kilter here and there, and then afterwards you can, once you finally figure things out more than less, then you can do like dialectics and go, oh wow, that's how they relate to each other. But like,
if you're doing it genuinely, you don't really need to say, oh, I'm doing dialectic.
Pretty much, it just happens.
Yeah, because Jack Slaps was asking me earlier how to think dialectically, and I was like, just think. Just let thought freely develop.
On the contrary, they do but confirm it. I think that he means it about dialectics and maybe UFOs. This is confirmed on every occasion. We believe that extraterrestrial beings may exist, as well as flying saucers. Well, I don't think they may, I think they do. The only reason I say
he does too, yeah.
The only reason I don't say I know they do is because I haven't seen one yet, but the day I do, I'll tell you.
Alright.
Oh, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that they do. I mean, we have the records. The records.
The Akashic records.
I wish we had the Akashic record. They must have access to it or something.
Or maybe...
They, as in the Jews?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we
Jews
definitely
too.
have the records.
Oh, Israel has stuff, yeah.
No, but it's actually recorded in the Talmud that there's actually aliens.
Cool.
I am not bullshitting
Awesome.
you. I am
Yeah,
not
I know.
bullshitting you. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But
He's talking about the Akashic record, the record that contains all knowledge in the universe, supposedly. That people supposedly have accessed portions of, through specific means like meditation and so on.
Or just, tripping out.
Or remote viewing or something. Yeah.
Or being autistic.
We gotta go through the Talmud, though. Look at these.
I'll try to find where it is. Like, I mean, I
think like you can like Google it pretty quick, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've read the apocryphal texts. I love the Book of Enoch and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, continuing. This also holds, meaning we believe that extraterrestrial beings may exist as well as flying saucers. This also holds, basing ourselves on the knowledge that we have thanks to dialectics with regards to the organization of matter. There is no reason, for example, that reproduction must always take place by means of couples. They may also be self-reproduction, as is the case for the amoeba. But sexual reproduction is just superior. It's dialectically superior.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but it, makes her lives much more complicated than it has to be.
But it has to be more complicated, Josh.
More awkward.
It's freedom. Freedom is complicated. If it wasn't,
it's
if
true.
it wasn't, it wouldn't exactly be a world of free beings.
Yeah.
Why could this not also be the case for humans in the future? These beings from other planets come to observe life down here and laugh at humans, we who fight each other over who has the most cannons, cars, and wealth. The possession of wealth is a distortion of human feeling by societal organization. Instead, the human sentiment is a fraternal collective one. I agree. Possessing wealth is a degeneration of these sentiments. Yep. Why does the bourgeoisie want 20 cars, 100 factories, the rank of general? Why? What does that give him? Power over others? And what then? It does not give him any capacity to raise and develop his intelligence. On the contrary, it limits it. The bourgeois class can have no interest in or perspective of seeking objectively to develop society. It is only concerned with material goods from which it can draw profits, and thus the perpetuation and extension of private property. This limits its understanding and prevents it from thinking. Even if the information on flying saucers is fantasist, as it most often is, the historical basis for it is correct.
I'd get bored if I just had everything. I wouldn't
Yeah.
appreciate anything.
Yep, most of them misuse it.
Yeah.
Misuse it. They don't use their wealth to cultivate themselves as individuals.
I feel like if I had to buy all the music that I listen to, I would appreciate it a lot more, but I just listen to music all the time. I love music, but sometimes I feel like, I don't like this album as much as I should. I have to work for it, because it's on YouTube for free.
Neither capitalism nor the bureaucracy in the worker states, nor any bourgeois thinker can explain this. They are all at sea, overwhelmed. I don't know. Plenty of bourgeois thinkers seem to be the ones who kind of have their grubby hands on it nowadays. Bunch of analytics. Those who do so do not have the means because they depend on the major scientific and research institutions, which are themselves dependent on capitalism. It is necessary to try to understand these phenomena not simply to increase our knowledge, but to extend the application of Marxism to all branches of knowledge. For example, thought. The speed of thought depends on the dominant material means. Thought is still very limited today. Tomorrow it will be infinitely more powerful and quicker too. When the class struggle has been eliminated and harmony is a necessity of life, thought will have a field of operation and possibilities of development infinitely superior to those that exist today. Qualitatively, yes. Numerically, probably not. It's actually probably going to be reduced simply because, like, a lot of the shit that we have, that it's like the amount of things that you can do. It's kind of like the whole deal. Like, you know, you have like 200 brands of deodorant. Well, you actually only need like one. So, you know, why options are not always the aim of freedom.
All right, Renata Solakal, Zizek's ex-wife, overwhelmed by the choice, the freedom of choice, the false illusion of choice. I agree, though. We don't need all this. We just need to figure out what's the best of each category, create that, and then...
But more freedom.
Well, yeah, you could have freedom of choice, but, you know, just make the best of each kind of deodorant or whatever the hell.
No, actually, I was here's
the thing is, like, the choice of what deodorant you have isn't an important choice.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Not only that, like, I mean, like
choices are important, but it's not like all choices are good. You need to have the right choices.
Yeah, okay, good point, and I'm going to say this right now just before I forget. For those of you who are still listening, which I doubt many of you will, listen to this whole thing. You can find the strangest bits of wisdom in like people who most people call crazy. And I have found like a lot of these people who otherwise seem crazy have some really amazing understanding of things. Which, I mean, it's not like deep. It's not like, you know, a line of Hegel or something, but it's stuff it rings true. Like this guy I was listening to, like, you would think he's uttering nuts because he's all into like, he thinks he's like the reincarnation of Enki and, you know, blah, 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 you know, something about like prophecies and whatnot. But then he goes on about like the illusion of free will. And he says something about like how people are all about this freedom, you know, freedom of choice. He's like, well, think about it, you know. When you know what the best things are and what you know what the right things are, there's really only one thing to do. And to choose not to do it is really, it's literally morally wrong. Like, why would you do the bad thing?
Yeah.
I mean,
Sounds Kantian to me.
yeah, I mean, once you know what's the truth, that's it. You know, you can have all these other existential opinions of your freedom and whatnot, but there is only one right choice. Freedom is necessity. I mean, and to choose to do that necessity is indeed your freedom. So freedom is stranger than you think. Like, you know, the whole choice thing is nothing but an illusion, really. I mean, for things that doesn't matter, I mean, like, sure, you know, your choice in food doesn't matter. I'm not one of these like people like you gotta eat healthy, but I like to eat things that are tasty. Like, sure, you know, if you can make tasty and healthy, great. If you can't, I'll take tasty. And of course, you know, assuming that you don't harm other beings terribly and whatnot. But yeah, you know, I don't mind those things, but they're inconsequential choices. You know, they're a really flippant kind of freedom. It's a really low freedom. The highest freedom is usually one that is a necessary freedom, meaning that you got one choice to make, and if you don't make the right choice, well, you done goofed. But anyways, where was I?
You said thought is still very limited today.
Okay. Tomorrow will be infinitely more powerful and quicker too. When the class struggle has been eliminated and harmony is a necessity of life, thought will have a field of operation and possibilities of development infinitely superior to those that exist today. Today, thought is very limited from infancy onwards. To draw deeper conclusions on these questions, we must follow them attentively, interest ourselves with them, discuss them, learn about and study them. Other phenomena like the UFOs will present themselves. A whole series of things will attract our attention. Is the development of matter in another universe similar to that here? I think not. If it is different, what form will it take? The utilization of matter must certainly take place at a superior level. Organisms are not created arbitrarily, but according to certain compositions, relations internal to matter. Most of it to do with Metatron's cube, by the way.
Yeah.
19.5.
Oh, yeah.
The organism is structured starting from inorganic matter, then taking on inorganic form, and then function of the environment in which it evolves. These beings coming from other planets with a structure similar to mankind may well originate from a process of the organization of matter similar to that on Earth. They may also have used matter in order to take on this form, which is what most people think, by the way. They think like that's not really their like their standard body, that they just kind of, they're vessels for them to like interact with us.
Yeah, they take that form to make it easier for us and so that they can interact with us.
They could do so if they have mastered science, just as here we could have mountains. We could move mountains. Nice way to quote Jesus. Jesus did say, you know, one day you will do these things and greater.
Yeah.
Mao Zedong says that we must do this with a pickaxe and a spade, but those beings do so by means of putting the mountain's energy into action. The mountains will move themselves. It is possible. I think so. I believe it. But it is not a problem we can resolve just now. We do not have the times or the means. Already we can reproduce life. Certainly, this must also be true of other planets. These beings can do that. Here we transplant hearts and kidneys, fundamental organs of the human body. But it is possible that on other planets they create life. Engels told us that already in his time it was possible to produce artificial protoplasm, this being an essential basis of the cell and thus a basis for existence. The discussion of these questions will soon become more generalized because it makes the progress of humanity in its integration with nature and the universe. J. Posadism. And that's the end of that.
Infinitely more enjoyable to read than Board Again Bookchin.
Oh god,
yeah.
yes. There's a thing on Bookchin, by the way. I actually want to read. It's not by Bookchin, but it's about Bookchin, and you know, so it's. I thought it might be worth something. I haven't looked at it actually, but I bookmarked it. I will never ever read anything by Bordiga again.
Posadism, Dolanism.
I don't know. Posadis doesn't seem crazy, you know. For all the memes people say about Posadis, all this, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm already
They're just doing what he said they do. presupposing that it's wrong, that it's not true, and just believing the government.
Yeah, I mean, like,
even if they're against the government.
people, maybe it's because, we already are convinced that, there's a reality to this phenomenon. And by the way, it's not about flying saucers. It's a lot weirder than you can think. Like, it's...
We found a flying saucer in bodies. I mean a weather balloon.
Yeah. Look up the whole history of Roswell. I mean, a guy... Was he a general? I think he was a general, right? The guy who...
The guy holding it, looking off?
No, the guy who died, who wrote it when he was old.
Yeah. Oh, that guy. The guy that worked for Lockheed Martin, or which one?
No, he was part of the Roswell cover-up, and like when he was old, like,
okay.
I think he was...
Yeah, he told his son.
Yeah, that one.
Or is that the guy you're talking about?
No,
yeah.
That was the balloon
his
guy.
Son has the stuff.
That was the son of the balloon guy who told his son that it was bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, you can see him looking at someone off in the distance, like they're telling him what to do.
I forget what the name of the book is.
Okay, you're talking about the guy who worked on the craft, like found the craft, or whatever.
Might be that guy.
Was there with it. Yeah, because originally.
Because what's Stanton Friedman helped him write the book.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's. I'm
saying originally it wasn't the government that found it. It was like local police officers, and they had a coroner come, and a doctor and some people made some pine boxes for the body.
Oh yeah, they don't know. They don't know if that part of the story is true or not.
I know. That's interesting.
But the thing is, there was this weird story in which first they reported that it was 2 flying saucers, and then it's like, oh wait, no, it was a weather balloon, and as if literally in the newspaper. So that was a strange thing already, as if like the military can't tell the difference between a flying saucer and weather balloons. So
they described it as being made of metal.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird things.
Said, weather balloon.
Weird things with that story. But either ways, I mean, maybe this makes sense because I already accept the reality of such things. And other people look at this and they don't believe it, so they think it's crazy, and so it's a meme thing. Now, and I don't think his idea of let's ask the aliens for help. According to people, yes, they do offer some help, but it's not. They're not going to intervene and save us from ourselves, basically.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, they ask us to save us from ourselves.
Yeah,
they ask us to. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they'll give us nudges. Well, that's about it.
I thought you said they made us stupid. They want to watch us for entertainment.
No, I'm saying some of them watch us for entertainment. Probably. I mean, what else would you do?
We're on the precipice.
Yeah, I mean,
transcendence.
We're on this level of you're stupid enough that you might not make it, but you're smart enough that you just might. And what's more exciting to watch in the universe than that, really?
And it's especially interesting now because now we got indigo children like me and AW and Kaya.
What? I'm indigo? I thought I was turquoise or something.
You're only a year younger than me. I thought we were in the same bracket.
I don't know, but when I looked, the only times I've even tried looking at my aura with stupid eyes crossing techniques, it looked semi-green.
Are you talking about aura? Yeah, the
I've
aura
never tried that before.
Yeah, it looks it looks kind of green, so wouldn't that be turquoise or something? I don't know. Or that turquoise children? I don't fucking know.
My friend's mystical friend said mine was purple, so I have a purplish aura.
I can't see shit.
Clear purple.
You have to really concentrate, and I think the whole technique is you have to unfocus your eye.
Yeah, because I've done it. I've done it, and I don't know. I haven't done it enough to tell if it changes, because supposedly it kind of changes with moods and shit. But the few times I've seen it, it's been slightly yellowish green. And then other times that I try about it,
what? I heard a sound. I don't know if you guys heard it.
I didn't hear anything. Then again, I was talking.
High-pitched screech type thing.
Weird.
No, I didn't hear it.
Nope.
Maybe it's the aliens.
Okay.
I didn't hear it.
It's the fucking NSA, man.
Okay.
it's. Don't worry about it.
It's weird because I was trying to do what she said, on focus, to see if I saw an aura.
Oh, it does work.
Okay,
it does work, by the way. It's just I don't know, I haven't done it in a long time, and you kind of have to put your hand on on a plain background so they can see it. like because you start defocusing your eyes and you start seeing this outline. It does have color, by the way, but then again, I can see it on walls too, and like with walls like here, like it's kind of like this really like bright, dark purple violet. And then I start seeing like these like you know how like it looks like when cars pass by, like your window, and like you know the lights move.
Yeah.
I start seeing stuff like that. It's bizarre. I mean, it's cool. Like you know, it's actually cool when I do it, but it's kind of entertaining. But I don't see anything like with it. I don't know. Either way, for those of you who think we're insane, yeah, whatever, man. We have fun.
History will prove us
You
right.
know what Fidel Castro said? History will vindicate us.
Yeah.
400 years.
History
History
will
will
absolve
Yeah,
us.
history will absolve
Yeah.
us of, you know, our kookiness.
Mhm.
When you see the black triangles coming out of the sky, you will
You'll remember this.
you'll
and you'll be
remember
like,
that,
"Shit, they
you
were
know,
right."
like the two of you who listen to this, you're like, I remember when AW said it. Oh my god. They really are real. Anyways, take this seriously or not. Serious or not. Find out for
It's fun.
yourself. Go down the rabbit hole. See where it leads you.
If you're still listening.
If you're still listening. I know the aliens are listening. And the NSA.
And the NSA is.
And maybe the
Yeah,
CIA.
so still listen. Maybe they learned something. Who knows?
But
Push the envelope.
yeah, anyways,
Watch
we
it
might
go.
find something else to read by Posadism. I don't know. It might be more speculative. I like the first part especially, and the second part. The first part was the most fun. But yeah, if he has anything else on like more alien stuff, that'll be fun. We'll read that. And 19.5 people. 19.5. Goodbye.
You're welcome.